Hey all, Avros here, back with the next Lufenia Plus fight. This fight is for the Act 3, Chapter 5, Part 2, against the bosses at the end of this part, the two Twintania. This one has a slightly more tricky orb than usual to deal with, as it requires either the bosses to have turns, or really the bosses to have no turns for this one. So the orb spawns at battle start with a 10 count and is increased by one of two different triggers. The first requires the bosses to have turns with a debuff with 3 or more stacks on the debuff, which will increase the count by 8 whenever the boss takes a turn with that condition met. And this will also trigger when pushing the bosses past certain HP thresholds throughout the fight. The second trigger is by dealing Ranged BRV Damage, but only when it's against an enemy with a Ranged BRV Weakness, which these bosses do not have by default. The bosses also have some scary attacks between their recast setup powering up for Giga Flare, which makes them immune to delay and delete effects while also raising their defenses, and Giga Flare itself, the recast, which recovers them from break, gains bravery and deals an AoE HP damage attack, and removes the delay/deletion immunity. The other attacks to keep in mind are Atomic Ray, which is a recover from break into an AoE bravery plus HP attack, Tidal Wave, which also is a recover from break into an AoE bravery plus HP attack, and lastly Mind Blast, a single target bravery attack that applies Paralyze on the target hit. So my strategy for this one was to not let them have turns, using Kain to control the orb from his place in the sky as long as the boss was kept with a Ranged Weakness debuff. This would be easy to do if I had Fran's LD call, but unfortunately I didn't pull for her LD weapon, so I had to get creative. This is where Irvine's call came in handy with its 3 turns of Ranged BRV Weakness on both bosses, so that I could control the orb for this fight. So the approach for this one was on the first turn I had Kain get Irvine's call up on the bosses, and set up Kain in the sky with his LD into double jump. Once this was done, I had Zell use Jack's calls to get the damage up debuffs on both bosses to make sure this fight could be handled quickly, and once these were up it was a matter of using Zell's LD attack and the 4 turns of re-breaks via his LD buff, as well as his AA attack to reset the extra turns on breaks, to control the bosses enough to let Bartz use his BT plus finisher, and then swap out Zell for the twins Lann and Reynn. Once the twins are in, I used their BT plus attack to get their aura up, and with this I used Sid's LD call on Bartz and went into his BT phase, buying time to get the summon ready as well as maximize the damage from the LD call via launches. After Bart's BT phase, following the usual pattern for no mastery of his skills going into it and dealing nearly 4.5 million damage to both bosses, they ended at 75% and 65% HP. I got enough attacks after the BT phase ended using Mega Flare from the twins, and getting conveniently timed breaks I was able to summon Shiva before the bosses got another turn. I made the most of the summon phase, dropping the boss's HP low coming out of the summon with both bosses below 50% HP, and I put Kain back into the air to retake control of the orb. In running out the last turns of the twins' friend turns that they were in for, one of the bosses got a turn, but due to Shiva's additional summon effect they can't get above 0 bravery, and so they dealt no HP damage, and due to Kain breaking the other boss, Zell returned into the fight by timing out the friend unit. From here it was smart uses of Zell's LD ability to continue breaking and re-breaking the bosses so they didn't get any turns, and the fight here could end after a few more turns from when Zell returned to the fight. On that note, thanks for watching, and if you'd like any further assistance with this fight, please ask in the comments down below, and enjoy the rest of the video.
冒険はまだ終わらない。やろうぜ。 動せよ。
覚悟はいい？
ビビんなよ。
必殺
ドッカーン。さあガンガン行くとすっか。
いただき。
明動せよ。全力で行く。誓いの槍よ。
覚悟はいい？
ビビんなよ。
必殺
ドッカーン。さあガンガン行くとすっか。
いただき。
任せておけ。
チャチャチャチャンス。助け合いだ。チャチャチャチャンス。成敗。チャチャチャチャンス。
任せておけ。
覚悟はいい？
ビビんなよ。
必殺
ドッカーン。さあガンガン行くとすっか。
いただき。
駆け抜ける。飛翔する。明動せよ。明動せよ。
覚悟はいい？
ビビんなよ。
必殺
ドッカーン。さあガンガン行くとすっか。
いただき。
明動せよ。明動せよ。
サンキュー。本気で行くぜ。
明動せよ。
ヘッドスッチだ。ラッシュパー。
明動せよ。
ヒートアップ。
明動せよ。
メテオバラット。行くぜ。
明動せよ。
絶対勝つ。もらった。
明動せよ。さあ行こう。不物では終わらない。
見せてやるぜ。
任せておけ。
そこだ。
明動せよ。
穴から俺は本気だよ。
明動せよ。
本気で行くぜ。
明動せよ。
ラッシュパー。ヘッドスッチだ。
明動せよ。 明動せよ。全力でいけ。駆け抜ける。竜の相互。
助け合いだ。
本気でいくぜ。